Hi, Algebra 1. First, if you still need to finish up your test from last week, please come in during one of your off periods so we can get that done. We're going to be on page 37 in our books. And a few things that we were doing with this chapter. We had been multiplying things together and getting a long drawn out term. We worked on like this, where we multiply it and you wind up getting, and I don't have the signs, but basically we've been working on this, and then we've been working on things like this, where you distribute over, so you get 4x raised to the third plus 10x squared. So now we're going to learn how to go backwards. It's called factoring. So we will be breaking down, we'll be given what the answer, what we would have been getting in the last chapter, and working back and figure out what to do. Okay, so factor to write is a product of two or more terms. We have a greatest common factor, which a lot of times we can pull a number or a letter or both out of the entire equation. So factoring out a GCF. So I'm going to break this down into basic things. So I know that 2x is 2 times x, and 8 is 2 times 2 times 2, because 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8. So notice we both have a 2 in common, so I can pull a 2 out front, and then I have an x left, plus, I should have done a plus sign, I have a 4 in common. So this is the undo of it. Take a look at number 2. You have 3 times x, and 12 is the same thing as 3 times 4. Notice the 3's we have in common, so we can pull that out front, and that gives me x minus 4. If I had redistributed it, I'd get the original. Notice x is x times x plus 5x, so you have an x in common between the two. So you pull an x out front, and then you're left with x plus 5. And then 3xy and 2y. The only thing we have in common is a y, and that would leave me 3x plus 2. So we're breaking them down. We're taking them back to what the original problem might look like. Let's go to number 5, take it out a little bit further. So I know that 4 is the same thing as 2 times 2, and then x squared is x times x minus 2x. So what do we have in common? I have a 2, and I have an x. So I'm going to pull a 2x out front. Then I'm left with this 2 and this x. Everything factored out of here, so I had a minus sign. So everything factored out, we use 1 as a placeholder to hold it in place. Number 6, we know that 2 and then x to the third is xxx. 4x squared is 4xx. And 8 is 2 times 4. Actually, let me go back a little bit. Let's change 4 is the same thing as 2 times 2, and then I have x and x. And then 8 is 2 times 4. 4 is 2 times 2, and then we have an x. Let's take a look what we have in common. Each of the 3 terms has an x or a 2 in common. They also have a single x in common. So I'm going to pull a 2x out front, and then what do I have left? I have xx, which is x times x, which is x squared. I have minus 2x. Notice I brought the negative sign down. And then I have 2 times 2, which is 4, and there's a minus. I need to bring it as well. So that is broken down as far as we can go. It's just a matter of breaking these problems down into their smallest components. So 3x squared, y squared is 3x, x, y, y. 6 is 2 times 3. Then we have an x, and then we have y. So let's take a look at what we have in common. I have a 3 in common, I have an x in common, and I have a y in common. So if we pull that out front, we get 3xy out front. Then I'm left with xy and 2y. Ooh, do you see if we have something else in common? I guess what I could have done is this. Let's go with black. We also had another y in common, so in theory, that's the wrong answer. So we have a 3, an x, a y, and a y. And then what do I have left? I have an x and a 2. So I have an x and a 2 left behind. Well, 3xyy breaks down to 3xy squared, x plus 2. There's the right answer right there. Now let's take a look at this one. We could distribute over, but there's no reason to. Remember, we're going backwards. So I have an x minus 2 and an x minus 2 that I have the same between these two. So let's pull an x minus 2 out front. What do I have left? I have x and I have plus 5. So just put that just like that. And that answer is done. And let's take a look here. I have an x plus 3 and an x plus 3 in common. I'm left behind with a 4 minus x squared. Now, I will accept this answer now. This will actually factor down a little bit further, but we'll learn about that later. Okay? So again, remember, if you need to finish your test or take your test, you need to come during one of your off periods. It doesn't matter if I have class or not. And you can get that finished up with me so I can get the grade adjusted in the grade book. Your assignment for today is going to be page 39 and 40. And so I'm going to tell you that we're going to do all of them. I will tell you that problems 1 through 6 just multiply together like we had done in the last chapter, okay? And then 7 through 22 is what I just taught. This is the new stuff. Okay? Well, I hope you all have a nice day. Take care of one another. Bye-bye.